The president says after Bannon lost his White House job, he lost his mind. He accuses his former chief strategist of spending his time in the White House leaking false information to make himself seem more important than he was. A criticism first leveled in a more colorful fashion by our next guest, Anthony Scaramucci, the former White House communications director. It's good to see you.
Hey, really good to meet you again. See you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Admiring the Cuomo family crest on your tie.
There is no real one, but I thought it was a nice gift.
It's hard to believe that the Cuomos think they have a family crest.
If Cuomos know they do not have a family crest, but I see what you're doing,
okay, so go ahead.
My undersized friend. You're trying to distract from the news of the day, and it will not work.
I'm the right size for you. Go ahead, keep going.
Listen,
go ahead.
You're the right man for the job today. Everything that you used to say about Steve Bannon was just your opinion. It is now shared by the President of the United States, and a lot of other people are weighing in. What is your take on Steve Bannon's attack on Trump's family and on the nature of these meetings as being wrong, treasonous, and that money laundering is going to wind up being the undoing of this administration?
Okay, so let's talk about the treason thing because, you know, you have to have criminal intent. Obviously, we both know that. Donald Trump Jr. is a very patriotic guy. He's a very honest guy. And so I would bet my life savings on the fact that he's done absolutely nothing treasonous. So if Steve actually said that, and let's say that he did say that, I think it's just a ridiculous comment. And if he was a smart enough guy and a good enough strategist, he'd get on the TV or somewhere and say, I'd like to take it back if I said it.
He's been on record a couple of times since it came out, and he has not denied it. He has not backed off it.
So it's a stupid thing to say. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so that's number one. As it relates to the other stuff in the book, I was there for a lot of it, Chris, and I can tell you a lot of this stuff does not seem right to me. The first example is the president not wanting to win or not thinking he was going to win. Certainly, we all had great uncertainty around the campaign and the tightness of the polling, but nobody wanted to win more than the president of the United States, and frankly, nobody worked harder. And I'll take you back to 24 hours before the campaign, 10 o'clock at night in Pennsylvania, and then flying up to Michigan to hit Michigan one more time. President Trump, then candidate Trump, wasn't leaving anything in the tank, Chris. Okay, this is a guy that's a winner, has been a winner his whole life. And so for someone saying they didn't think he was going to win or he was winning by losing, I sort of think that's a bunch of nonsense. Now, you guys are for facts first, and you guys are for real news. And so I'm just asking an open question to everybody, who's verifying what was said in the book? We're reading the quotes. We're reading the quotes on the TV and on the prompter, and people are doing it all over the United States right now. But who's calling up the people that are supposedly calling the president names, which I know they don't feel that way about the president. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what's real in the book and what's factually accurate and what's fake in the book.
Always a legitimate question. We do know that you guys gave Michael Wolff unprecedented access, so he was able to be in there and watch things go on. We do know that, you know, he's...
You say that, but again, I'm going to be very honest. I only met him one time in the transition.
Right.
And I was interviewed by him when I was in my purgatory after Reince and Steve blocked me from my OPL job. And I was in purgatory. I interviewed with him for TheStreet.com. So I didn't see him that much. And so when people say that he had all of this access and all this sort of stuff, I do also think that that's exaggerated.
Well, look, again, you got to take him at his word until it comes out that otherwise is true. He says he was there a lot. He says he has records of it. He says he has records of the conversation.
We don't take the president at his word a lot. You know, the president says that he had nothing to do with the Russians. The president said he had nothing to do with collusion, none of this stuff. I absolutely...
Who doesn't take him at his word on that?
I don't know. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of accusations being made.
But you're now doing what you're saying you don't want done. That's not a verifiable claim. Certainly, we have never said that you can't believe the president about not having something to do with Russia.
I'm not saying you. I'm just pointing out the mass hysteria that's going on in the society.
But it's not about what
it's really
Trump
about the polarity,
did or not
Chris.
did. See, that is certainly about polarity, but it's about the role of the administration in engendering polarity as well. The president makes this about whether or not his win was legitimate, whether or not he had anything to do with Russia.
Okay, so
the questions are much more open-ended than
the president knows his win is legitimate. The president knows he's had no collusion with Russia. The president knows that he was playing to win. Donald Trump Jr., if he was sitting here with you right now and you said, hey, did your father look like a ghost on the night of the election? He absolutely didn't. I was with these guys on the night of the election. He didn't look like a ghost.
But different things can be true at the same time.
I will say this about the president. He's a superstitious guy. He told Mnuchin and I that he didn't want to have a big ballroom. Because he was, we were all uncertain about the election, but he was playing to win.
Different things.
And he's now the president of the United States.
Different things can be true.
It's a little bit of nonsense in the book.
Different thing. Well, maybe not. You know what I mean?
Well, that stuff is nonsense in my opinion.
But and that's why you're here. And Michael Wolff will have to stand for his own reporting, and he'll have to back it up when questioned.
He seems like a nice guy. I'm not trying to hit Michael. I'm not trying to hit Michael Wolff. But I think what Steve did, if everything has been said about Steve, and he's talking like that, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and he should walk it back.
Well, he's had opportunities, and he hasn't.
He
says he supports the president.
Very honest about him. I said the truth 6 months ago of what he was like as a person.
You think he's disloyal?
Well, I think he's for Steve. At the end of the day, what I said, taking out the expletives, he's for Steve, we're for the president. Okay? If you love your country, President Donald J. Trump is our president. Let's go out and help him. I'm not for myself. I said that in that interview. Unfortunately, it got picked up on that recorded phone line. But I was there to serve the president. Okay.
Why is Bannon there?
I think the president wanted to reward him for a job well done during the campaign. But I think he diverged from the president and he started focusing on his own brand. And I think that's very damaging. It wasn't the right thing to do.
Why did the president keep him?
Did he keep him? I mean,
he was there a long time.
7 months is a long time.
But in your administration, that's a long time, pal. You were there 11 days.
11 days.
You know, you had almost a dozen people out within months.
11 days is also 954,000 seconds. Okay, you can put it that way. It seems like a long time.
In the context of this administration, you make it a year, you're going to have a white beard.
7 months. I don't agree with that. Okay, there'll be people there that'll be way longer than a year.
We have never seen this many people out in an administration as soon as it happened here.
And in my opinion, that's a tribute to the way the president thinks as a business leader and an entrepreneur. If things are not working in a business, you go to people, you tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm sorry, it's not working. And like myself, I got fired. I took it like a man, and I walked out graciously. But I'm not going to break from the president. I'm not going to be disloyal to the president. I'm still on his team. I support his agenda. I think he's doing a great job for the country. People say, well, what do you mean he's doing a great job? Taxes are going to be lower. Disposable income is up for middle-class families. Wages are up. We've had three plus percent GDP prints in the last year. The former administration said we would never grow at 3% again. And so you take all of those things. We can talk about national security as well. The president's doing a very good job. I can't find one thing my liberal friends can point out that the president has done in 2017 that's hurt them or hurt the country. It just hasn't happened. So he's doing a good job. People may not like his tweeting. They may not like his style. They may not like his combative personality. But let me tell you something. If he didn't have that combative personality and he didn't use the social media the way he did, he wouldn't be president.
But look, all of this is a function of perspective. On the policies, you could go back and forth all day. There is a different conversation this morning, which is dysfunction is not good for anybody. Having a government that can't get out of its own way and the White House that can't.
What are you talking about? This guy left the White House. This guy left the White House in August. Okay, the White House is functioning way better today than at any time in the last year.
But that's a relevant assessment because it's been such a bad show going on there.
Hey, Chris, the guy that fired me, General Kelly, okay, let's pay him a compliment, okay? He's running the White House way better, okay, than it was run prior to July 31st.
Right, and why did Kelly need to be brought in? On your own supposition of fact, why was he brought in?
Because there was internecine fighting.
Circus.
Internecine fighting. There was ridiculous, unconscionable leaking going on. Okay, the president pointed it out yesterday. I pointed it out. And when he hired me, he said, hey, go after the leakers. The mistake I made, other than the interview that I gave, is that I was handling it like a CEO. I was handling it like a business executive and not like one of these surreptitious, phony, baloney political operatives. Okay, I probably would have lasted longer if I handled it that way. But I went at those people very aggressively, very similarly to the way the president went after Steve yesterday.
Anthony, how do you look at the last year, as anybody, a CEO, a cab driver, doesn't make a difference, and say that, well, all the comings and goings are a function of good business sense by Donald Trump, and not as incompetence and picking people who were over their head and couldn't get the job done?
This is what I love about you. Okay, look at outcomes. Okay, you can look to me, the 78 Yankees, the 86 Mets. They won the World Series. Was there some dysfunction? Sparky Lyle wrote about the Bronx Zoo. Okay, people have a tendency when they get to very high levels of power to act a little dysfunctional. You think there weren't dysfunctional people in the Obama administration or other places?
Then why have we never seen turnover like this before?
But because the president has a different operating style. He got to be president because of that operating style. But let's focus on the dashboard, the economic dashboard, the national security dashboard, our alliances, our adversaries. How is he handling the whole scope of things as president?
He has plenty of criticism on all of those points.
Okay, but all right, but I'm not criticizing him on that.
No, not. You're a team guy.
Okay, but hold on a second. Are you criticizing him on the economy? You can't look at the economy over the last year and say that the administration hasn't done a good job.
Of course
Are you criticizing?
Of course you could. Yeah.
Tell me how.
First of all, every administration deserves credit and blame for what happens on its watch. So you get good data, you deserve credit just by dint of being there. But as we all know, and people do when the opportunity suits them, you start looking at job growth in the beginning of the year. That's not about this administration. It's about carryover from what happened after it. The longer you go, the more you assign direct responsibility for what happened.
You win on that point. I'm going to give you that point. But let me make a very broader point, okay? He is a pro-business guy. He's a pro-growth guy.
And this tax plan shows it, because he benefited business over the families he said he was for.
But that's not really true, Chris. Go through the tax code. Each middle-class family is getting roughly an additional $2,000 of disposable income in their pockets.
That's designed to help them more than
meaningful
other groups.
Money.
I'm not saying they get nothing.
Okay.
Nobody is saying that. If they are, they haven't read the bill, which takes forever. But I'm saying his point was, it's a middle-class tax cut.
Okay,
I'm putting people first. So people like the families where you grew up and where I grew up, it doesn't do that.
It does do that, and that's where we're going to disagree, because I've actually...
You think it helps those people more than anyone else?
I didn't say it helps him disproportionately,
but that's what he promised.
I said that it helped him. Well, hold on a second. He's not done with his agenda. There's a lot of legs to his agenda. He's got to work on the health care plan. He's got to work on DACA. You got to give the administration a little bit of credit for the following, okay? They have set a pro-growth, pro-business agenda that is now filtrating through the economy. Wages, I study wages. I am trained as an economist. Wages have blown in the United States from 2006. They're down 11% in real economic terms. Since he became president, let's not give him credit for the first quarter, but the last 2 quarters, they've been staggering wage growth on his watch. That's because he's a pro-business person. People were reserving cash, reserving capital under the Obama watch because he was anti-business. Now, President Obama said, well, I wasn't anti-business, but you know what, sir? That was your perception. The president's perception is that he's pro-growth, he's pro the economy,
right.
He's pro
and the numbers will tell the story.
Pro the American worker.
The numbers will tell the stories,
so the
and it'll
nonsense
be reflected
about
at the polls.
Steve Bannon, hey, pal, if you're not a team player, get off the field.
What if he's telling the truth? What if his loyalty is to the truth? Now, I'm not Bannon's advocate, but I'm saying, what if he's saying, well, this is how I saw it. You take a meeting like they took in Trump Tower, you're dumb at a minimum, and you're dangerous at a maximum.
Okay, well, I disagree with both of those. Okay, you
would have taken that meeting?
A smart guy. What I have taken.
I send you an email saying this guy wants to give you from the Russian government information about Hillary. You take the meeting.
I'm going to tell you what. Okay, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here sanctimoniously telling you that I wouldn't have taken the meeting or taken the meeting. What I am going to tell you, because I know for a fact, and I would put all of my money on the table on this, that Donald J. Trump Jr. is an honest guy. Okay, when Steve Cohen had his problem on Wall Street and I was on CNBC, I defended Steve Cohen. He's opening for business on February 1st. He's an honest guy. When John Corzine's not in my party, but he was my former boss. Okay, they said he stole money from MF Global. I said, there's no way the guy stole money. I was a lone wolf out there advocating for John Corzine as an honest person. He didn't steal any money, Chris. Donald J. Trump Jr. is a very honest person. He's an American patriot. And to call him treasonous, you got something wrong with you, pal. You got to get back to your therapist, okay, and get back on the air and take it back.
And he won't do it. Bannon's not doing it. He's had plenty of opportunity.
So it's a sign of what he's like as a person. It's a sign that it's his way or the highway. It's all of the things that the president said about him in his statement, and it's all the things, frankly, that I was saying about him. Okay, it's nonsensical. You're on the president's staff. You're on his team. Whatever mistakes I made, I put my heart and soul into it, and I'm a loyal guy. And as far as I'm concerned, he was not.
Is it true that you may wind up back in the White House?
I don't even know why people are saying that. Okay, I've never had a conversation with the president about that or his family. I'm more focused on my house, Chris, than I am the White House.
All right, I'll take it at that.
All right.
So you're in the book, the Michael Wolff book. There are a couple of excerpts
Did they spell my name right?
Yeah, they got it right.
Okay.
The 11 Days of Anthony Scaramucci, he talks about you. He says you're a minor figure in the New York financial world, quite a ridiculous one. This is Wolff.
Right.
Overnight, you would become Jared and Ivanka's solution. Is that true? Did Jared and Ivanka make the move to put you in the White House?
Well, it's probably true that I'm minor and ridiculous, but I don't think that that's true. I had the conversation directly with the president about going into the White House.
Okay. Why? Why did they want you there? Because he says
I think it was,
you're from New York, you're good on TV. They hired you to replace Priebus and Bannon, who were trying to take over the White House. Was that the dynamic?
I didn't see that at all. I thought, in my conversation with the president, I said there were a couple of things that we could do to help reshape his communication strategy, and I would be very happy to help him do that if he had an interest in that. He said he did. one of the other things he charged me with was to see if I could not only help with the communication strategy, but we have to put down some of the internecine fighting and the leaking that was going on inside the system. Mm-hmm. So to me, I got hired to do that. Unfortunately, when you're hired to start firing people, it's Washington, the knives come out, and, I got fired as well. And by the way, I made a mistake. I owned up to the mistake. I'm accountable for the mistake. You've never heard any whining from me. You and I know each other for a long time. I don't say I resigned. I got fired. I got fired by General Kelly because the comments that I made that were picked up on a recorded phone line by somebody I trusted, whose family has known my family on Long Island for 50 years. Okay, Frank Lizza knows my father, Al Scaramucci, for 50 years. I trusted him. I made a mistake. I owned it, got fired. No problem.
You think you should have been fired?
Do I think I should have been? That's not
because you talk loyalty all the time about Trump. He's so loyal. He's so loyal.
I don't up to me to
see the signs of loyalty specifically in your case.
Okay, but let me tell you something. That was not up for me to decide. And at the end of the day, the president went with General Kelly as his chief of staff. Right. And if General Kelly wanted to make staff changes below his level, that was his right to do that. And as an American business person, unfortunately, I've been on the other side of that, where I've had to fire people that I actually like, but I don't think that they fit.
This wasn't a business decision, though.
I didn't say it was a business decision, but maybe it was strategic as it related to General Kelly. Maybe he wanted somebody different.
But where's the loyalty in that?
It's politics, Chris. Your family's been in politics their whole life.
But you're either about loyalty or you're not. You go look at people who work for the Cuomo administrations or even the ones now. Loyalty matters.
This is more.
You say loyalty matters. All of his guys got thrown out. I just don't see that loyalty as a brand that you should be ascribing to the president.
But let me ask you something, though. Okay, every one of the guys that have gotten thrown out, probably with the exception of Bannon, still talks to the president, still has a good relationship with the president and the president's family. So I don't get it. It's politics, Chris. I get it.
But he's supposedly not a politician. Let me ask you one other thing. The president, how...
That was a good line, by the way. I'm going to give you that one, too. All right, go ahead.
The impact of the book on the president, how angry do you think this stuff is going to make him?
You see, I think, again, you know how I feel about Sarah. I think she's done an amazing job in her role. She's a very compassionate person. I haven't talked to the president since the book came out or since the statement, okay? My gut tells me that he's probably not all that angry as much as he is distracted by it. He thinks it's another unnecessary distraction.
Guy says his son is treasonous. You don't think it makes him angry?
Yeah, I don't think. This is another misnomer about the president, in my opinion. People think he's angry and volatile and temperamental and all this sort of stuff. I don't see that in the guy's personality at all. Okay, I see the guy as honest and straightforward. Sometimes he wears a lot on his sleeve. Sometimes he wears a lot on his sleeve on Twitter. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't describe him as angry as much as I would describe him as frustrated, because when he let Bannon go, he sent out a nice tweet about him, and he wanted to have some level of cordiality.
Just said he lost his mind.
And he wanted to bring the party together, okay? He also didn't want to go with Judge Roy Moore. He wanted to go with Big Luther, as we both know. And so there were a lot of breaks that Bannon made from the president. He went against him on the Afghanistan decision, 4,500 troops. He went against him on the Alabama situation. And so you'd have to say what the president said and what I said over the summer, Steve's out for Steve. And so what I would say to Steve, let's put the party back together, cut your nonsense, okay? We got to play on one team, and we're playing for the country, we're playing for middle-class families and the forgotten people of the country. That's what I would say.
Anthony Scaramucci, if nothing else, you put the fun in dysfunction.
I need a Cuomo crest tie.
There is no look.
There's no Italians that have crests.
That's not true. Lots of Italians have crests.
Yeah,
we don't.
Northern Italians.
But I like the tie, so
You're not from the North, Cuomo. I know where your family's from.
That's true. I'm from the South. You're finally right about something. Anthony Scaramucci, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you.